පවුල් 300කට එක ජල පෙරණයක්. කුලී වැඩ නැතිදාට වතුර බූල නැහැ. මේ මාතලේ දීවහුව ඉහළ දීගල පිපාසේ තරම. මේ ගමට ගම් නැත්තෙන් පිරිපහදු ජල ව්‍යාපෘතියක් ආරම්භ වූ වගයි.
Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. On behalf of the Newsfirst, the voice of the people, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon. Is Sri Lanka going to face more power cuts? GMOA strike enters day 2. Patients inconvenienced. Teachers warn of trade union action in January if demands not met. Foreign exchange saved by increasing fuel prices, says central bank governor. Sri Lanka signs T4 oil deal with Iran. On your top story this afternoon, the Ministry of Power said that the supply of electricity to certain areas was disrupted on Tuesday due to an issue in Generator 3 at the Lakvijaya power plant. Spokesperson for the Ministry of Power, Sulakshana Jayawardena, told Newsfirst that Generator 2 at the power plant is being connected to the grid and there will likely be no power cuts today.
We experienced an issue in Generator 3 at the Lakvijaya power plant on Tuesday as we could not generate electricity at full capacity. Therefore, certain areas experienced a 45-minute power cut on Tuesday night. However, Generator 2 is being added to the grid and the Ceylon Electricity Board said it will be done today. Thereby, we will be able to provide electricity without any disruption.
Operations across all government hospitals were crippled by the Government Medical Officers Association strike taking place during the holiday season, while the threat of COVID-19 has not gone away completely.
A large number of patients who visited the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital today were inconvenienced due to the strike by the Government Medical Officers Association that entered its second day today. Operations at the cardiology unit and the clinics at the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital were crippled as a result of the strike. This was the situation at the Colombo National Hospital today. All government hospitals in the Polonnaru district were also affected by the strike. Patients who visited the OPD and clinics for medication were compelled to return home without receiving treatment. A similar situation was experienced at government hospitals in the Galle district. Hospital security officers also prevented our correspondent from reporting on the situation at the Kalutara Nagoda Teaching Hospital.
The Government Medical Officers Forum or the GMOF responded to the strike by the GMOA.
They have used the strike as an excuse for holidays this festive season. The doctors must consider what they are going to gain out of this by the end of the strike. The 15% of doctors that are on strike should stop this. Look at Venerable Murutatwe, the president of the Public Services United Nurses Union. What sort of strikes do they do to fulfill the nurses' demands? They didn't have any strike. They were with the government and their demands were fulfilled. What is happening here is that they showed that they are with the government. What did they ask? They asked for their names to be on the national list in Parliament or as a Secretary of Health.
Trade unions warn that if the government does not keep its promise and issue a circular to resolve the teachers' and principals' salary anomalies before the 20th of January, they would resort to trade union action once again. 30 billion rupees has been allocated from the budget to remove the teachers' principals' salary anomalies. All teachers and principal trade unions have unanimously said that it needs to be implemented before the 20th of January 2022. When we receive the salary on the 20th, we should also get this. For us to receive that salary, a circular should be issued. Normally, for us to receive our salaries on the 20th, they have to prepare it by the 5th, and the circular should be issued before the 5th. However, we don't see them doing anything about it. The decision taken by the cabinet has not been implemented by the Education Ministry. If the government approved this through the budget, the Education Ministry has a responsibility to implement it. The Education Ministry has not presented gazettes regarding the teachers' principal services being converted to an inclusive service. The budget was approved on the 10th of December. Nothing has been done regarding the circular by the ministry. We are on a clear decision that if the government does not fulfill their promise of giving us a salary by the 20th, we will take decisions regarding examinations and other things as well.
අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ගන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම තීරණ ගන්න. විභාග සම්බන්ධයෙන් අනිකුත් කාරණා සම්බන්ධයෙන් ගත හැකි සියලු පියවර අපි ගන්නවා.
The National Trade Unions Front on Tuesday convened a media briefing to comment on the economic issues faced by the general public in the face of the rising cost of living.
Gas explosions are being reported from all over. A senior police officer comments that the gas cookers are of inferior standard and that it is the cause of the explosions. He said there is no way of taking legal action as it cannot be proven that the explosions are taking place with criminal intent. So who will compensate for the lives that have been lost? We ask this government, have you no shame?
ජීවිතවලට වන්දි ගෙවන්නේ කවුද? එතකොට මුන්ට විලි ලැජ්ජාවක් තියනවාද කියලා අහනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් අපි. අද මේ රටේ මේ මහ ජනතාව.
The government is mum on the issues that affect the people. They will either appoint committees or just boast. The most obedient group of the government Medical Officers Association, has gone against the government. Therefore, we can say that the government henchmen will lose their position soon, and that cannot be prevented.
එළියට බහලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි තාමත් ඕනෑකමින් කියනවා ආණ්ඩුවට තමුන්නාන්සේලාගේ හෙන්චයිලා හෙට අනිද්දා වෙනකොට ඔඩොක්කුවෙන් විසි වෙනවා. ඒ හෙන්චයිලාට රැකෙන්න බෑ තව දුරටත්. අසූචි නවකට කෝටි.
They can pay millions for rejected fertilizer, but this money does not come from their family coffers. It is the people's money. The group that used bicycles to protest against the 2 rupee fuel hike have increased fuel prices by 20 rupees. They are mum about this. They get the fuel, vehicles and everything else free while the people have to work to survive. They must give an answer to the people.
Why is Sri Lanka short of US dollars? Samagi Janabalawege MP partly Champika Ranawaka elaborated.
ඩොලර් නැති උනේ මාර්තු මාසෙදී ශ්‍රී ලංකන් ගුවන් සේවයට තිබිච්ච.
The dollar reserve depleted in March when the government decided to use $500 million to settle the due over the Airbus scandal for Sri Lankan Airlines, rather than penalizing those responsible for the scandal. The future is not something fruitful. Prices of rice, vegetables and fruits will increase and goods will disappear from the market. We will reach an era where we will be short of food. If we do not address the dollar issue, we will face issues with respect to fuel, gas and electricity. What is the alternative the government provides to this? They want to grow hemp. His the answer to this issue. We have seen the result of hemp. When you go to the National Institute of Mental Health in Anguda, you will see the people who suffer from the effects of using marijuana.
මානසික ආරෝග්‍ය ශාලාවේ විශාල පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා ගංජා වලට ඇබ්බැහි වීම නිසා මානසික රෝගාබාධයන් වලට ලක් වෙච්ච.
Will the government take assistance from the IMF to solve the prevailing dollar crisis? We can go to the International Monetary Fund for a loan. They will provide us with loans as soon as we ask. But as soon as we do so, they request that state services be downsized. Can we downsize state services at a time like this? What we are trying to do is reduce foreign debt instead of obtaining more loans. We will surely settle this loan worth $1.5 billion. There is no doubt about it. Speaking as a government MP, we are saddened to pressurize the public like this. We don't approve of this.
The All-Island Interdistrict School Children Transportation Association warned that it would be compelled to increase its charges from January 2022 if the government does not introduce a concessionary scheme with regard to fuel price.
ඇත්තටම ලෝක වෙළඳ පොලේ තෙල් මිල බොර තෙල් මිල
We are disappointed that local fuel prices are increased when global prices slump. Government ministers are responsible to ensure that concessions are made available. But in Sri Lanka, what happens is the complete opposite. Today, we come before the people after spending over a year with zero income. We are trying our best not to inconvenience the parents. It is not possible for us to bear this hike. Tomorrow marks the end of school term, and schools will open again on the 3rd of January 2022. Therefore, we propose the government to take these 10 days and prepare a concessionary scheme for us regarding the fuel price. We would even appreciate a coupon system. If not, we will be compelled to raise the fares by at least 20% from January.
ජනවාරි 3 වෙනිදා වෙනකොට 20%කට එහා ගියපු ගාස්තු වැඩි කිරීමකට යනවා.
Will the bus fare increase amidst the fuel price hike?
As a bus association, we are not asking for the price to change. As of now, out of the 18,000 buses in the country, only 10,000 are operating. We are requesting the government to provide a diesel concession for those 10,000 buses for the existing rate. If that is not given, we propose that a price change be introduced. The price of petrol, diesel and kerosene were increased on the 11th of June 2021. The price of petrol was increased by 20 rupees. The price of a litre of petrol, which stood at 130 rupees, rose to 157 rupees, an increase of 20 rupees. At present, the price of a litre of petrol that stood at 157 rupees rose to 177 rupees. The price of petrol increased by 40 rupees in 6 months. We asked this government, how will the consumer survive when the prices of petrol, diesel and kerosene increase? Today, a kilogram of vegetables is sold at 800 rupees. An egg costs 25 to 30 rupees. Consumers are unable to purchase a kilogram of fish. The price of a kilogram of chicken has arisen. The price of crude oil in the global market is dropping drastically. We asked the government, how did the price of petrol, diesel and kerosene increase at a time when the global crude oil prices reduce? We request the politicians of this country who are living a luxurious life do not do this to the innocent consumers of this country. If this continues to happen, the consumers will soon take matters to the streets against the government.
මේ රටේ පාරිභෝගිකයෝ මේ රටේ පාලකයන්ට විරුද්ධව පාරට බහින දින ඈතක නෙවෙයි.
Sri Lanka's Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral had said that by controlling the supply, the outflow of foreign exchange for fuel will also be reduced. The Department of Government Information, quoting the Central Bank Governor, tweeted that the country is unable to keep subsiding fuel aggressively amidst the dollar crunch. The Central Bank Governor was quoted as saying that Sri Lanka is now paying closer to what neighbouring countries such as India are paying for a litre of petrol. He had noted that comparative to a litre of premium petrol, currently 210 rupees in Sri Lanka, Indians are paying 266 rupees per litre. Iran has agreed to accept tea from Sri Lanka to settle outstanding payments for oil purchased from Iran. The Ministry of Plantation of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Trade of the Islamic Republic of Iran agreed to formulate a scheme for the settlement of a sum of $251 million outstanding from the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to the National Iranian Oil Company by means of utilizing the said sum to facilitate the export of Ceylon tea to Iran by signing a memorandum of understanding. The Ministry of Plantation of Sri Lanka said the MOU signing took place today at the Foreign Ministry. The MOU was signed by Dr. Ramesh Patrana, Minister of Plantation of Sri Lanka, and Alireza Pemanpak, Deputy Minister of Industry, Mines and Trade of Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran is among the top 10 importing countries of Ceylon tea for the past several decades. Ceylon tea, which had a market share of about 47% in 2016, dropped to about 25% in 2020 due to the economic sanctions resulting in banking restrictions. Due to US sanctions imposed on Iran in November of 2012 and with the absence of an accepted payment mechanism through the banking system, Sri Lanka tea exporters found it difficult to receive the export proceeds from Iranian buyers. The proposed scheme is to seek the possibility of operationalizing a mechanism to settle the long outstanding debt to the National Iranian Oil Company by Ceylon Petroleum Corporation through increasing the export of Ceylon tea. Under this scheme, the Ministry of Finance is expected to release Sri Lanka rupees of an equivalent amount to $5 million per month in settlement of the outstanding debt arising until the entirety is settled.
Several gas-related explosions were reported during the past 24 hours.
Locals said that a gas leak was reported at the gas terminal at the Hambantota International Port last night. The locals had decided to spend the night outdoors due to this situation. A gas stove placed at the kitchen in a house in Siripura, Hatton, exploded last night. No one was injured following the explosion. The litro gas cylinder has been purchased 15 days ago at a shop in Hatton. Another gas-related explosion was reported in Keselwatta, Panadura. A gas cooker was destroyed following the explosion. A gas stove exploded at a house in Adigala, Kumbulwela, Ella last night.
Sri Lankan farmers are facing serious issues due to the never-ending fertilizer issue, with an added burden of rising fuel prices and gas-related explosions. Farmers have been left helpless as they could not reap a maximum harvest for the Maha cultivation season.
Pumpkin farmers in Vilattiya, Anuradhapura have been severely affected by the fertilizer shortage. The lack of proper fertilizer has destroyed their cultivation.
මේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම බැලුම් බෝල වගේ ගෙඩි තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මේක වෙළඳ පොළට අරන් ගියත් මේකට මාකට් එකක් නැහැ.
Due to the shortage of weedicide and pesticide on large-scale cultivation lands, various insects have started to take over these farmlands.
තියෙන්නේ මේ කුණු වෙච්ච ගෙඩි මේ ඔය ජස් ගලනවා වගේ. ඉල්මස්ස විදපු හින්දා නේද මේ විපතකට වැටලා තියෙන්නේ. මේකට තෙල් තිබුණා නම් අද මේ දේ සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
The farmers in Gatahatta, Ambemulla, Pahalanagoda villages in Ahaliyagoda are also impacted due to the fertilizer shortage. Even though the farmers use the liquid fertilizer received for the Maha season cultivation, they allege that the crops have died without any growth.
Meanwhile, the protest carried out by the farmers of Valsapugala continues for the second day today. The protest is being carried out demanding the government to enact the gazetted Wild Elephant Management Reserve.
The farmers who launched a hunger strike yesterday allege that the solution provided by the government to the issue surrounding the proposed Wild Elephant Management Reserve in Hambantota is not sufficient. Representatives of 86 farmers' organizations, including the Valawa Left Bank United Farmers Organization, is engaged in the demonstration. The Fast on to Death campaign, launched by the farmers from the 18th of January 2021, for a whole of 105 days, concluded as the authorities promised to provide a solution to the issue.
17 newly accredited envoys to Sri Lanka, including 11 newly appointed ambassadors and 6 high commissioners, presented their credential to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the President's house last afternoon.
The new ambassadors were appointed from Egypt, Indonesia, Jordan, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Hungary, Mauritania, Tunisia, Argentina, the Dominican Republic, Spain and Slovenia. The new High Commissioners represent Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Botswana, Malta, the Republic of Guyana and Nigeria.
The total number of COVID-19 cases in the country has risen close to 581,000. The death toll confirmed is in excess of 14,700.
The Director General of Health Services confirmed another 24 deaths for Monday, taking the total death toll to 14,795. 713 COVID-19 cases were confirmed on Tuesday. 580,922 COVID-19 cases have been identified thus far. 557,915 people have recovered from the virus as well.
A Christmas tree has been set up at the Ceylon Square for the members of the public to place gifts for those who deserve them. Children and adults will be given the opportunity to place their gifts at the Christmas tree until the morning of the 25th of December. On Christmas Day, these gifts will be taken to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children to bring a smile to the children receiving treatment there. Shifting your attention to international news, at least 70 people are missing after a landslide occurred at a jade mining site in northern Myanmar.
The landslide occurred in the Kachin state at around 4 a.m. Myanmar time today. Rescue operations are currently underway, with most of the victims believed to be illegal jade miners. Myanmar is the world's biggest source of jade, but its mines have seen numerous accidents over the years. Jade mining is banned in the region, but locals often defy regulations driven by a lack of employment and impoverished conditions that have worsened from the COVID-19 pandemic. Several days ago, at least 10 unskilled miners went missing in a landslide at a jade block in the same area.
At least 14 people have died and tens of thousands are displaced following some of the worst floods Malaysia has seen in decades.
3 days of torrential rain over the weekend caused severe flooding in 8 states, particularly submerging a number of towns and villages. The government has come under fierce criticism for not issuing warnings in time and for being slow to respond. There are fears the death toll will rise sharply as more bodies are found. As of Monday, an estimated 51,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. Most of them were from Pahang on the eastern coast of the Malay Peninsula, one of the worst hit states. Selangor, the prosperous and densely populated state which encircles the capital city of Kuala Lumpur, was also severely affected. Visuals circulating online showed parts of central Kuala Lumpur submerged over the weekend by water levels not seen since a massive flood in 1971.
Finally, in your sports news, Jaffna Kings defeated Dambulla Giants by 22 runs to qualify for the finals of the Lanka Premier League 2021 yesterday. They will take on last year's finalist Gol Gladiators tomorrow.
වඩා විශ්වසනීය ප්‍රවෘත්ති සන්නාමය News First. ඔබ ලොව කොතනක සිටියා අප ඔබ සමගයි. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. News First. ඔබේ ජීවිතය අපේ ප්‍රවෘත්ති.
This edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, the voice of the people, I am Martin Satyanesan. You take care and stay safe.